UFC Fight Night in London was absolutely massive. So many finishes. This event should have been a pay-per-view. So many things happen on the preliminary card. On the main event, I don't know where I should start and where I should recap all those crazy things. So let me start with one of the big ones, Paul Craig. I don't know why Paul Craig is not fighting on the main card, because hello, he has so many submission wins against very top guys. He has a submission win against Magomed Ankalaev, who is gonna be in a title contention very soon. And Paul Craig and his grappling and jiu-jitsu skills are off this world, which I also still don't understand why people still try to take him down, even though he's just submitting everyone from his back. Even Jamahal Hill, he submitted a lot of very good guys, and the way this whole card was so crazy because he was losing that fight and he just came back and submitted the guy. That was absolutely amazing, and this was basically the story almost across all of the fights. It was absolutely wild. Let's continue. Ilya Topuria. There was a little bit of beef between him and Paddy before the match, but they both guys had their own crazy finishes. And Ilya Topuria for the match where you can actually see how well-rounded are you, because if you are going against the opponent who is a very solid striker and has a much bigger reach than you, then it shows what can you do? Can you close the distance? Can you grapple the guy? Can you outstrike the guy? It's a very tricky situation, and Ilya Topuria was losing that fight. But you have to acknowledge the chin on that guy is absolutely wild. He got hit by a leg kick. That leg kick could knock out a lot of lightweights. We are talking about lightweights. If they get hit by such a huge leg kick, they go down. Then he got hit by a knee. He absorbed so much damage. I'm so surprised that he managed to survive the first round. And even though he lost his mouth guard several times, him just being able to keep his composure, because he never was in such a situation. He was always in a situation that he was the one putting on the pressure, winning the striking exchanges. Now he was facing the other way around, and him being able to keep his composure doing that, there was first great thing about him. Second, in the second round, he was a different fighter. He was still getting a lot of pressure, but he did adjustments, and just when he hit that overhand right, oh my God. If you're a lightweight and you have ability of knocking someone out cold with one punch, you are a special fighter. And that's why I think, and then he called out Paddy. And that's a very good fight in the making if the UFC put it together. But I don't think they'll put it together. You know why? Because I'm getting the vibes of Colby and Jorge Masvidal. Not that they were teammates or anything, but they will rise with their respect. Better. I think the better acknowledgement would be Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington. They will rise in the rankings together, but they will face each other once they will become very highly ranked, and the match will be oh my God. Then the beef will be built up. They will all have a good records, and they are both on the trajectory too. So I don't think the UFC will make that fight yet, especially when Paddy Pimblett. Let's go to that fight immediately, because same scenario as Ilya Topuria. Paddy Pimblett was getting hammered, and then he just grappled the guy and submitted him. All of these fights were just freaking amazing. Something's happening. It's not just one-sided domination. You can see just back and forth, just guys just hitting and hurting each other. And Paddy Pimblett is also for real. However, why I don't think this fight between him and Ilya Topuria will happen is that Paddy understands the business, and a lot of fighters had two different approaches to the business in the UFC. First approach is basically trying to climb up the rankings as soon as possible, get into the title contention, because then you can negotiate a better deal and higher salary. And second approach that also works very well is the approach that Sean O'Malley decided to choose. Sean O'Malley is a very talented fighter and has a lot of good wins. However, he doesn't want to fight a lot of highly ranked guys because it's a danger, it's an unnecessary danger he would have to take. And this way he racks up a lot of good wins, a lot of kind of easy wins, make himself much more famous because he will also create basically a good winning streak that the UFC will have to be forced to pay him a better salary in order to force him to take better fights or like a highly ranked fights. And that approach also works, and I think the Paddy is taking that approach while Ilia Topuria is taking the first approach and trying to fight the top dogs, which can at the end hurt Ilia's career if he is not really ready yet and he can become that Jorge Masvidal type of guy that he will have some losses, some wins, and he will just go back and forth. But we'll see. But I think that Ilia Topuria is kind of ready. This fight he had to overcome a lot of adversity, but he also showed that he can fight anyone. And there is just more. In that whole card, Tom Aspinall. Volkov, well-rounded fighter, but Tom Aspinall just dominated him. You could see that he was winning everything, and he's getting also in the title contention very soon. It's like the whole division in the heavyweight is getting more and more interesting. And then Molly McCann, a woman don't knock out other women like that. That was one of the craziest spinning elbow knockouts of all time. It was one of those spinning elbow knockouts. You remember when Jiří Procházka knocked out Dominic Reyes with that spinning elbow from hell? This was like that. It was literally like that, and which was much more impressive. They'd happen in a women's division when they are 57 kilograms heavy. Women that light, having that so much power and knocking out someone cold like that. Like, I believe this knockout is on the same level as Valentina Shevchenko's high kick knockout of Jessica Eye. These two knockouts are on the same level because they were both so devastating. And that's still not end of the card. Then we have Arnold Allen demolishing Dan Hooker, who went to the lower division because he was a lightweight fighter and he went to the featherweight. So Dan Hooker was the bigger fighter of the two, and Arnold Allen just went through him. He just went through him without a hesitation. And even though Dan Hooker had some up and downs in his career, he's a tough motherfucker. You don't go through Dan Hooker that easily unless you're a championship caliber guy like Islam Makhachev or Michael Chandler. You have to be basically just a championship caliber guy to go through Dan Hooker that easily. So Arnold Allen is now on a 9th fight winning streak in the UFC featherweight division. That's absolutely insane. I really hope he will get into title contention super fast because I don't want to see another Tony Ferguson happening when someone has such a long winning streak and they will never get the title chance. Because now we see in the featherweight division Alexander Volkanovski is facing Korean Zombie, and don't get me wrong, Korean Zombie, solid fighter, has some wins and losses, but if someone has a 9-fight winning streak in the UFC, not just in the MMA, in the UFC, he should be in the title contention much sooner. And I really hope that Arnold Allen will climb up the rankings. I believe that I don't think he will get a title match after this performance, but this performance was fucking legit, you know. Michael Chandler got a title match after knocking out Dan Hooker. I don't think it's gonna happen with the Arnold Allen, but I think his next fight should be title eliminator match. And his next fight if he wins that fight, he will be on a 10-fight winning streak. I don't think you should, or it's almost impossible to deny someone a title shot on a 10-fight winning streak. And the crowd in London was fucking wild. I also like the fact that everybody who had the finish on that card got the bonus. That was a very nice gesture from the UFC and from Dana White. Whole event was spectacular. I really hope you didn't miss it. If you missed it, watch the reviews. It was fucking wild. That event was like one of the best even though it wasn't a pay-per-view, it literally was like almost one of the best pay-per-view events of all time. It was an amazing event full of chaos, submissions, fighters overcoming adversities. It was super wild, and I really enjoyed that event. I really hope we have many more of those. What do you think, guys? Did you like the finishes? Did you like the event in general? Let me know down in the comments below, and I will see you in the next one.